Greetings, distinguished guests, and welcome to a new series, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Heart of the Forest. I was trying to so it's been a while since I've looked at Werewolf, especially Apocalypse, and I wanted to do a more thematic opening like I did with Vampire, but I just don't remember any sort of terms or vocab or really anything from Werewolf. I remember there's wolf blooded and things like that a little bit, but I don't know, that didn't feel right. But anyway, also I did not expect this channel to kind of turn into a World of Darkness channel. It just kind of happened to be oh, let's play Masquerade Bloodlines, because that is one of my favorite games of all times, even though it's a buggy mess. I love it. I just like the lore of Masquerade in general. And then I had Coteries of New York, so I was like, well, why not play that? It seems like a reasonable follow-up. And then it's well, I might as well do Shadows of New York. And now Werewolf, at least at the time of recording this, just came out a day or two ago. I think by the time this goes up, it's going to be out for a week, maybe a little over, around a week. So yeah, anyway, I really don't know much about this game, so let's just get going. I don't know if it's a prologue, premonition, start the chapter. Okay, so this is a little bit more. All right. This is a game about rage and how it helps us to do the things we need, things that need to be done, as well as the things that we regret later. Sometimes both. How do you feel about that? Oh, I feel like this is kind of kind of helps determine what you're part of. Info, name, personality. It's well, I prefer to think before I act. Your rage is low. So you're the observant and cunning type. That's okay, there's no right path here, just your decisions and their consequences. Let's just follow the path and see where it takes me. The forest. The woods are full of stars. They flicker. They come closer, run away. They want me to chase them, to play hide and seek. I hide, why not? They dance around the tree trunks, float up on the gusts of winds that shivers through the branches, disappear among the leaves. I hide, but they bunch up and fly towards me like an arrow. Rushing down, they are soon upon me, but just before the spear of light pierces my breast, they disappear and the darkness of night returns. Low rage. In the darkness, the spirits keeping the forest alive whisper about the enemy. I begin to move unnoticed, one with the night. Then I wake up. Cold and alone. Confused, I open my eyes. The forest around me is thick, dark, and reeks of decay to such extent that it's hard to breathe. Why am I here? My head is spinning. Why am I here? There must be a reason. The tree trunks, wrapped tightly in dark-leaved ivy, are covered in ripples of lichen where the vines haven't taken hold. The thorny, leafless bushes at their base are overrun with nettles. The fungi radiate with a ghoulish, sickly green light. Dark sponge-like mushrooms cling to the fallen trees. Something's rotten. I can't shake the feeling something died nearby. I look down and see my hands covered in a dark substance. I'm naked, a sticky, glistening film of liquid is clinging to my skin. I can feel it on my face, in my hair. Blood. I'm alert. Nature is never quiet. Leaves rustle in the wind. Small creatures scuttle in the undergrowth. There's a whisper. I don't understand what it means, but the word resonates in my head. Garu. Who said that? There's a severed head right in front of me. Some choices are hard to make and strain your willpower. Yeah, we'll strain my willpower. Overcoming my disgust, I gently touch its wet hair and watch as the head topples over. Rage is low. The face is contorted, the eyes bulging in the mouth, open as though the head were struggling for air. I look at it and start to laugh, and then the eyes open in the darkness. The enemy. I can see their silhouettes. Shades of jet black against the darkness. They reek of metal and acid and oil and money. Massive creatures, some with mandibles, some with spiry legs. Their faceted eyes burn like small industrial furnaces. I look at them and something wakes inside my chest. Can I do... Alright, delight. They see me as prey, and I'm delighted by their stupidity. I get up and start to run. I make sure to catch my foot on a gnarled root and stumble. They follow, and I lead them towards my friends, waiting in the trees, ready for the ambush. I bite my lip to hold back my laughter. In a moment of clarity, I almost understand what the forest wants from me. And then I wake up. Please wait. Yeah, so this is kind of interesting. Seems to be a more text adventure game. Dreams. Maia, 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 wake up. I open my eyes. My neck is stiff. I stretched lazily as I assessed where I was out of the corner of my eye. I wasn't in the forest anymore. I was in a bus. The sun's streaming through the windows was making it hard to see. The girl next to me was touching my shoulder, disturbed. I comfort her. It's all right. I squeezed her hand to comfort her. She looked at me, concerned. You're laughing like maniacally. I blinked. The memory of the dream was still there, and the taste of blood in my mouth. It's kind of curious. All right, so all right. Glad I wasn't alone. Thank you for coming with me, I said. The girl next to me smiled. I think we're almost there. Her name was Anya. We met a couple weeks earlier on orientation day. She was from Norway. A tall, broad-shouldered, calm person, wore long hair and braids. Somehow I managed to talk her into this crazy field trip across the land of my ancestors. She seems excited. Anya reached into her backpack and took out 2 apples. I'm really happy we decided to come here, she said. Yeah, I said, offering her some of my kabanasi, dried meaty sausages that were so much better than the original Polish ones back in the US. I was glad Anya had decided to come with me. I had problems keeping friends around and really needed one. I did some searching, she said from over her phone, and this place is amazing. The last primordial forest in Europe. This trip was my idea. Our summer language course was starting in a few weeks, and I managed to talk Anya into skipping the tours of concentration camps and old churches and visiting Białowieża National Park with me instead. So far it's beautiful, she said, her eyes smiling. But why are we here again? Good question. Why were we there? Being in by Białowieża, a small village in the northeast of Poland near the border with Belarus. It was famous for its national park, the very last European bison, and according to a quick web search, occasional tensions between far-right troublemakers and the local Belarusian community. The most honest answer would have been because I've been having dreams about the forest in Białowieża since I can remember. But people didn't understand when I said things like that. I look into her eyes. Yeah, we'll do this. Family, it's complicated. Alright. I've always had these dreams where I'm in this forest, and it speaks to me, I said hesitantly. I'm not sure why, but I feel like I'm supposed to be here. Only my grandfather understood the dreams. Respect the forest, he would say, and pay attention to your dreams. It was all I got from that part of the family before my mom took me, ran away, and cut off all contact with my dad. Yeah, I instantly regret saying anything. Anya took her time to answer, and with every passing second, I felt more humiliated and angrier with myself. Wow, that's intense. She looked at me with what seemed like respect. I wouldn't dare tell anyone a story like that. I think that's great you come from such a magical place, she smiled. The last ancient forest in Europe, thousands of years old. I wasn't sure if I was fond of that magic, but it was hard to ignore. And that's precisely why I needed to do something, anything, about my future, that damn forest, and my weird-ass family. I had a clear goal in mind. I wasn't there by mistake. I planned this trip for months, with a clear goal in mind. Yeah. My grandfather's stories, the secrets, my mother running away, there was a mystery in my past. It was time I uncovered the truth about who I was, but honestly, I had no idea what to expect. Welcome home. Your willpower dropped to 0. When you lose all your health or willpower, you become impaired. So make physical tasks, 0, or social and mental tasks, 0 health. Excuse me. Białowieża looked like an overexposed photo of a village with the contrast turned all the way up. Heat was pouring from the cloudless sky, scorching the earth, the trees, the grass, the wooden houses, the fences. Everything looked slightly past its best, weary, worn out. Everything except the shadows. They were sharp, as though they were freshly printed with the darkest of inks, and they moved. For a second, I could have sworn they moved, but when I realized it was just a black cat walking down the sidewalk, when it saw me, it stopped in its tracks. I watched it with suspicion. Hey, do you think there are rabid cats? Because this one's acting weird. I mean, there's rabid squirrels. Why not cats? She shrugged, looking around. Didn't you say your friend would be waiting for us? But he wasn't there, and the cat was still staring at me. Let's go. Anya put on her backpack. I'm tired, and I really need to find a toilet. I didn't know what to do. I was tired and distracted to think clearly. My friend was nowhere in sight. Balance. Disappointed. But this. Let's just wait a little longer. I said, I don't have his number, and we really need to meet up with him. His name was Bartek. I met him online while researching the town. The man knew everything there is to know about local history. I asked him to check if anyone in town remembers my grandparents. I hope he's found something. I really need to pee, Anya said like I was a 5-year-old and not a very bright one. Made my best puppy dog eyes. Let's just wait a few more minutes, please. Pretty please. I made my best puppy dog eyes. It's important. Anya just looked at me and walked away. I grabbed my backpack and timidly followed her, too tired to argue. The town had a few hotels and hostels, but the preferred form of accommodation was bed and breakfasts. That's where we stayed. I found one that was nice, clean, and that had good reviews. We had a room on the second floor with a huge window and a great view of the forest. We dropped off our stuff and freshened up a bit. Maybe we should have waited for your friend, Anya asked, concerned. I shrugged. I'll find him sooner or later. Before you go, check out your character sheet. Look for it in the upper right corner. It's complicated. Friends and enemies. The town was a quaint tourist town. Sorry. Oh. But I had other things in mind. Lay of the land, forest, town. I had a clear goal in mind. My family was entangled with this town and the forest. I had to uncover my roots. Anya went. Let's go with the town. Serendipity. As we walked through the town, Anya nudged me and pointed at a tall, broad-shouldered, freckled guy standing at the bus stop with a lost expression on his face. I remembered his face from the picture on social media. It was the friend who stood me up earlier. I agreed. Bartek, I asked, getting his attention. Maia, what are you doing here? He blurted with surprise when he saw me. I was sure you were coming on the later bus. He started walking and talking. His accent was broad and Eastern European. Anya liked him. Anya took an immediate liking to him. I could tell. I could always smell romance in the air. We walked along the only street in the village, nearing the center, if you could call it that. Every house had a garden, and the air was dense with the fragrance of flowers. I took a deep breath. Go, family. So, did you manage to trace the name I gave you? I asked. Bartek shook his head. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Sorry. He was avoiding my eyes. A trickle of sweat ran down his temple. He was clearly lying to me, but why? Come on, man. I said, you wrote me that you found something. He just clammed up. You know what I think? I think you should drop it. I stopped. He's scared of something. I turned to Bartek and touched his arm. What's eating at you, man? He shrugged and shook his head. You can tell us, Anya added gently. I can't do that, so I taunted him a bit. What are you afraid of? I spread my arms. Little old me. The game tracks is the person she is. Her heart. Story changes to reflect me as person. Alright. Well, he brushed his forehead with the back of his hand. I did ask. I started with the old people here. I told them that my friend from the States was looking for her roots. I wanted to know all about the place her family came from. You know the drill. At first, people were very, receptive. I waited for the other shoe to drop. And then I mentioned your name. He shook his head. I needed a moment to calm down. He walked in silence for a long time. Finally, I nodded and he continued his story. One of the old men here told me to go to hell. The other spat on the ground and his wife crossed herself. For a moment, he looked younger and smaller. And then my own grandmother told me to stop asking. She said something else as well. I tensed up. What? I asked. She told me to pray for you. Suddenly, the sweet golden afternoon wasn't so sweet and golden anymore. I laughed. Who was I? I felt shit. Who was I? I looked at Bartek and I saw that the stories he had heard had clearly strained something between us. He was afraid of me. Who was I? We walked in silence, but my mind was in overdrive. People didn't want to talk. That could only mean one thing. I was on the right track. My pulse quickened. and I tensed up like a hound that smelled blood. I was on the right track. Every time you learn or do something significant that brings you closer to your goal, you'll regain willpower. I was ready to see some sights. So I'll do that, and then I think I'm just gonna call the episode here. Should put us at about, yeah. Anyway, seems like a good stopping point. I don't know how long this game is going to be, and I want to. A lot of the videos I've been doing have been kind of longer than I've really wanted to do, so 8%. Okay, so 8%. I'm sure some days will go further than others, but hopefully it's saved. I guess we'll see. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time with more Heart of the Forest.